Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Music Makers panel. Today, my name is Franklin Socorro. I'm the Career Services Representative at SAE Miami. Um, and we have here a few of our illustrious alumni here today. They're going to be talking to you guys about their path in the industry. Before we start, I want to let everybody know that there's a chat, and our Director of Education, Mr. Guillermo Lefeld, he will be monitoring the chat, looking for your questions. Also, we have a Q&A tab. So during the chat, if you hear something that triggers a question and you want to ask it, and obviously we're still talking, you can type the question in there. And then at 2 points during the talk, I will stop and I will answer, or I'll have the guys answer your question. So uh, make sure if you have a question, you can just drop it in there in the Q&A section, and we'll get to it at about minute 25, and then we'll come back at minute 45 and answer your questions. And in between there, I'll be talking to the guys and hearing about their story. Before we get to the chat, though, I want to introduce Mr. Jerry Rivera. He is our campus director, and he has a few words for all of you. Jerry?
Well, first of all, I already thanked our alumni, but I want to, congratulate and thank the alumni again for taking time out of their busy schedule and coming back and talking to our current students. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the students who are participating, any prospect students as well, any alumni who may be on the Zoom call as well, anyone overall. Thank you guys for taking time out of your Friday afternoon to share with us. It's going to be a good experience, as Frank's talked about. Congratulations. Thank you guys so much again. And please, enjoy the ride and welcome. Thank you guys. We'll do more of these.
Awesome.
Back to
Well,
you,
thank you,
Frank.
Jerry. Thank you. All right, guys. So let's get to the guys. So I have four alumni here from a pretty wide range. You guys range at about 10 to 11 years overall of graduates from the SA Miami campus. So I'm going to start from obviously in the order that I see you. So Cush, what's give us a little bit of your info, your name, where you work at, what are you doing?
What's up, guys? My name is Cush. I work at Forever Dope Studios here in West Palm Beach. I also co-in it with me and my partner. We've been open for going on 4 or 5 years, going on 5 years, and yeah, just bringing a new standard here to the city.
Nice. And Phil?
Hi guys, I'm Phil Martelly. I work over at Circle House Studios over here in Miami, Florida, and I work as an engineer and assistant engineer.
Thank you. Bryan?
What's up, guys? My name is Bryan. I do social media management. I'm out here in Atlanta. Just kind of that's where my path took me after leaving SAE. So that's where I'm at.
And Victor.
How's it going? My name is Victor. I'm over here. I work over here at Rolling Loud Studios. Ready to
I feel like the Travis Scott "It's Lit" was about to come on right now at the end of
But yeah, I'm an SAE alumni myself, so let's roll. Let's get it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get it started. So obviously, I have some questions for you guys. And again, guys, if you guys are watching this, you guys are at home, wherever you are, you're on your phones. Please make sure you either type your questions in the chat or put them in the Q&A so that we can read them and ask them your questions as well, because I know you guys are going to have your own questions. So the very first question that I have, and Vic, you guys were actually talking about this before we actually started everything, was what brought you to SAE? Like, what was your path? Like, why SAE, and how did you get there? Like, so you guys, whoever wants to go first.
I mean, for me, it was just, I was always musically driven, throughout, my whole life pretty much. And, just rapping, DJing. And then once I heard about SAE and, and the whole engineering side of things, the fact that it even existed, it just kind of I just gravitated to it. I was attracted to the whole, technology and, everything behind it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was for me, that was what it was.
Yeah. You guys?
Heck yeah, I mean, I'll go next. Like, same for me too. I was started off rapping and, coming up like, growing up in South Florida. After I have, been rapping and writing for many years, I was like, okay, I want to take it to the next level. I want to know how to engineer. I want to know how to record myself, like, because I was going to studios dropping money and it wasn't working for me at the time. So I was like, I'm gonna take, I'm just gonna do it for myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what led me to, to go into SAE, and it was just crazy. I mean, everything I learned there, still I utilize today. And what's crazy is I do social media management. That's like kind of like the, financial route right now, but I'm still writing every day. I'm still, tracking. I still do what I do. I still write. I still, keep the tools sharp. Because if you don't, then you know what I mean, that everyone's just gonna keep passing by. So it's not like, I understand that it's not my main focus, but I always have it there in building and learning until I'm ready to go with it full blast 100%. And it's game time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cush, Phil?
Kind of same as y'all, man. I grew up rapping, hustling.
Yes, sir. Making beats.
Yeah,
all that.
got tired of all that. And actually, I know Vic, you and Frank know him, but my engineer actually used to be James No-So. And one time I took a beat song to him, and he was like, "Yo, who mixed this?" I was like, "I started mixing it." And he was like, "You should go to SAE." I was like, "What the hell is SAE?" He was like, I'll put you on. And then a year later, I was at SAE.
Nice. Yeah.
For me, it was like, I started making beats at home. And, my beats, I only got so far, just at home, trying to watch YouTube videos, trying to make heads or tails of a compressor. And, a friend of mine was like, "You should try going to school for this." I was like, okay. So he's like, "Yeah, you should try SAE." I'm like, all right, cool. And, they were close by in North Miami, and I was like, hey, that works for me. So I went and I liked it,
That's awesome. And I just want to say that that something that Bryan said where it's like right now maybe it's not your main thing, and I think that that's something that when I do like exit interviews and I'm talking to people who are about to graduate, I'm like, you could do this. Like if you like, we have people who come, obviously, like you guys were making beats, you were rapping, like people who want, like they're artists, like they're like, yo, I want to be better at this. And I'm always like, yeah. And if you learn to engineer, you can get into the studio as the engineer first and be useful to somebody else at first and get your foot in the door and meet people. And you never know where it's going to take you. Like I'm sure when Bryan was at SAE, he wasn't like, damn, one day I'm gonna be social media manager in Miami. Like that wasn't your thought process.
Yeah.
But because you took what you learned and then you made certain moves, you put yourself in a situation where you could be a legend in 2 games like Pee Wee Kirkland.
Facts.
These days, man, you got to be multitasking, man. So
absolutely, and it's tough. It's tough, as an artist too. Like I was younger too, but it's just always tough because everyone wants to remain like pure. Like they're such purists, when you're like young and like I'm a rap. This is what it's gonna be. But when life hits you, what I'm saying, that changes everything. So for me, it was just like, let's just try to find a way to make money, but also align yourself with music while making money. You know what I'm saying? If you could do something that can help you while you're trying to do music, and it can be aligned, and do it. And that's just what I did. Social media management. I run your Instagram. Oh, you're an artist? Word. I already have a couple of things in mind already, because I used to do it too and I was an artist. So let me show you how to do it. So it worked perfectly.
Exactly. All right. So coming back back to just studying and pursuing this, like what, and this is a question I always like to ask, like what are some questions, or what are some classes that you took at SAE, like while you were there, that early on in your career, like were really useful, like something that you learned that were like, yo, right out the gate, that was useful. And then what were some things that were useful much later on that maybe while in school you didn't grasp fully, but then later on you were like, oh, and it clicks and then it makes sense?
I would definitely say signal flow.
Yeah,
like
facts.
day one, signal flow. Like as soon as you get in the studio, they're like, hey, we need you to connect this aux because so-and-so needs to play this real quick. And then you're sitting there like, okay, this is an SSL, I think. No. Like if you know signal flow, you look at it, no matter what console it is, you look at it like, okay, I know that this is that and this has to go here in order for me to get this. So you know where to put everything. So that definitely came in handy, like almost right out the gate.
And what's something that maybe comes in or has come in a little bit later, or and if it hasn't, it's cool. It's like maybe something that's already.
I mean, for me, to be honest, may sound strange, but like the whole theory, the music theory class that I took,
facts.
Arrangement.
I had that written down. Honestly, that was the same thing.
And I'm gonna be honest, because when I when I finally got in the hot seat, it was just like dealing with artists about, oh, you know, knowing the key of the song, being able to just be able to right away get it on my phone or use my ears or kind of just assume, you know what I mean? Just kind of just understand how the artist moving in the tracks and how they're moving in the music, you know, having pre-hooks and hooks and, you know, having a B-side of things, having a bridge, like all that to me was just like, wow. I didn't even know that was even like topics in the song, you know what I mean? So that to me was something I gravitated, and to this day, it's my main thing. I mean, Phil knows, we worked together plenty of times. Like,
yes, sir.
That's very, very helpful too. Signal flow to me was definitely, was key for me too in school as well.
Bryan?
For me, what I learned was mostly, here's the thing too, and you know, just to be clear, like I never took, you know, the route that everyone took, which was go to the studios, be an intern at the studios, you know what I'm saying? Like even after I left, I was like, what's the one thing no one else is doing? And let me try to do that. And which landed right when I got out of school. I went to the kitchen and I did post-production and did all the overdubbing and all that shit. And what I learned from that, which I think just still even today I still use, is just the chops, you know, getting in Pro Tools. You know, that post-production is just, yo, we got to keep it moving. Like, clean the vocals up, let's keep it moving, so learning those chops, learning the shortcuts, all the keys, like, and for me, you know what I mean, for me that was vital when I left there and started doing music on my own, because now on my own, when I'm tracking myself and this, that, and third, I'm just way faster. So you know, learning all the, you know, just the little things that go into Pro Tools that just make you quicker and faster, you know, that's stuff that still helps me to this day, even when I track myself. You see it in a different place. I have, you know, engineers I work with, I have producers I work with and stuff. I don't do it like myself a lot no more, but you know, leaving school, that's really what, like, kind of what I took out of it.
Chris?
And also, let me mention one more thing too: studio etiquette.
Yeah, hey, just took it right out of my mouth.
All those OGs at the time I went to school. Studio etiquette was something that was always talked about on the way out of class every day. Straight up.
Fly on the wall mentality.
Fly on the wall. That's it.
Be a fly on the wall. And I'm gonna piggyback off everybody and say the same exact things, but the one thing I took away was relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, I walked away from a pretty good career to go into audio school, and I knew the one thing I wanted to like really have was relationships, like valuable relationships where I can give into somebody the same way they can pour into me. Because, you know, at the end of the day, your clients are looking for you to either help build a sound or, you know, something. So they lean on the engineer for their vision, and it's up to us to execute. So same thing as everybody. I would say the, like Vic just said, is the studio etiquette. You know what I mean? And signal flow, obviously, but really studio etiquette, fly on the wall.
Yeah. Like I tell everybody, man, it's 90%, you know, etiquette, 10% tools, you know, like, if that's the vibe, you know, if you know how to control the room and have the trust of the artist, and he's just looking at you like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. Let me not have to question him. I don't have to like apply any pressure, because that's where you kind of fold when, you know, you're fumbling and you're like, oh my God. And it was like, always keep a straight face, never look like you're panicking. I'd rather have your sweat coming down your face than you'd be like,
yeah.
You know, it's just things like that, little things like that. To me, as I took that from SAE, so it's helped me a lot.
That is all amazing advice, and I agree with everything you guys say. I think it's really important that you learn to build relationships, and that's something you've been doing for your whole life, right? From a kid, you have friends, and you pick teams when you played sports, and you know, later on in life, you hang out with certain people, and so you know how to build relationships, and you know how to keep them. So working in the field is the same, right? You guys, you know, you're asking somebody to sit in a room with you for 8 to 10 hours. You better be compatible,
welcoming,
you know,
and compatible. Yeah,
or else it just makes your job really difficult, because now the person stops. And
efficient.
Right? Because from the gate, as human beings, when we first meet each other, we have no reason not to trust each other unless somebody else messes up, and now you lost that trust. So when your client is in the room with you, right, they trust you when they come in, because somebody was like, you know, Vic, an engineer, and they're like, all right, cool. It's up to you to mess that up. So if you can go in there and keep your composure and get it together, they're gonna come back and be like, Vic was the greatest, and he made me laugh. You know, he cracked 2 jokes. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. It's 90%, your personality and how you treat people, and it's
Yeah.
10% then making sure that you don't mess up. So, um, why don't you, since we kind of already touched on it, but why don't all you guys just give me kind of like a little, what was the path after SAE? Like, what did you find? I know Brian said you went to the kitchen, but
Yeah.
so then what happened and like to get you to where you are now?
So for me, it was that that was really short-lived, a few months, just did the internship. And really after that, it's actually crazy because from like 2013 till about like 2019, you know what I mean? I was still in Florida, pursuing the music with the group that I was in. It just wasn't panning out, kind of how I envisioned it. So I just decided to move. You know what I'm saying? I have family out here in Georgia. My dad's been out here for 20 years. So, I took the opportunity to come with him when I first got here just to get on my feet. And, once I did that, again, building relationships. Nico, he was also SAE, alumni as well, worked for, Dave Pisato. And so, I was gracious enough to meet Dave one time in LA. We went out there, it was dope.
Oh,
But just having again that relationship, Nico, and he's just a dope dude, put me in touch with someone who needed help. I went to that studio in Atlanta and helped out. And then next thing you know, I'm, running social medias. It's a great network that I'm a part of. It literally, shout out to Big Lou and shout out to Nico. Without those two guys, I'm literally not here right now. I promise you. Like, and Frank knows me back from back in the day. He was like, this boy, he ain't gonna make it, bro. Like this motherfucker, he ain't gonna make it, bro. And then I switched up, you know what I mean? So so all that time, even though I was working on my own music throughout these years, it led me to these opportunities that now lead me to where I am now. And it's crazy because it's not planned. I just kept making music and just doing the regular thing. And one thing leads to another, life happens and you're just in rooms with people. It's wild, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm blessed enough to right now to run Ari Morris's social media. He's Moneybags engineer, tracking engineer. I work with Randy Lamphere, Sway Lee's engineer. So it's like, it's crazy. Like, even I take a step back sometimes, I'm like, this is wild, bro. This is crazy. Like, you just work, hard work pays off, really.
Amazing. What about you, Vic?
For me, graduating, honestly, it was, and I got to shout out James Royo. He's an alumni as well. He literally put me in the hot seat with Ty Dolla $ign 6 months after I graduated.
Facts.
That's dope.
Flew me to LA, got me to LA, introduced me to the business, how this business works, how, what we're worth, you know what I mean? And just working with talent like Ty and working with Diplo in the room, Boy Wonder was in the room, like things like it was just crazy. It was fast forward, but it was definitely, I learned a lot from that, but that's what kind of got me off, got me off the ground, and I haven't landed since, and I don't plan on landing. So, straight up.
Facts. That's facts.
High flight.
Yeah. I mean, that just opened so many doors for me. And then when I came back to Miami, my confidence was just getting better, because that's really what it's about too, as well. Like, being able to host a session and at the same time have that confidence and have in yourself to know that you can apply everything that was taught to you or you learn from people's mistakes as well. Because as an intern myself, that's what my main attraction was. Like, okay, that's how he's slipping and falling. Bet I'm gonna go pick up those pieces and try to get myself in that slot. It's a backdoor game. So, for me, that's just how I just approach it. And even when I came back to Miami, my mentality was to never land, just try to stay afloat. I would annoy Frank at like 12 o'clock at night. Yo, bro, I'm sleeping. I'm like, now, how do I need to boom, like, how do I approach this? How without coming? Because I could be really, really high risk energy sometimes when I want something. So when I want it, I want it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that little trip to LA just kind of just changed my whole mentality, man. So, that was my little story. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Yes, I can attest for your intensity sometimes.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Phil, Cush.
So I actually started at Circle House while I was still at SAE. Mark Samuels, who was I guess in charge of the career placement or what they call it at the time, he looked at my resume and he was like, "Oh, I think you'd be a good fit for Circle House." And I was like, "All right," thinking they're never gonna call me back. They probably want like some super ninja engineer. And then they called me back the next day. So
See how life works? Remember, that was that 90% I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's facts.
Just know that.
you know, and yeah, like I've been there ever since, like almost every day, pretty much. Like I started off as an intern. You know, I was working that and another job. I was working at this spot called like Safari Adventure down in Homestead, like animals and whatnot. And then I just kept working and working and working until like, you know, they finally moved me up the ladder to where I was just at Circle House full time, and I've been there since 5 years later.
So you
This
went from
August will make
working
it
with
6 years.
beasts to becoming a beast yourself. How about you, Kush?
So funny enough, Frank, you and Dave Andrus, I think I just saw him pop a question up. I told y'all I wanted to open up a studio, and both of y'all said the same thing. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I've always been a gorilla in the room, and I hit the pavement running. So James hit you up, and you got me into Studio Center. I was there more to obviously engineer, but what really attracted me was the business side of it. I'm into processes and structures, how to streamline shit. And right around the same time, Gary was like, "Yo, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go wherever he's at now, Tampa or wherever the hell he's at." And when I saw that happening, I was like, "Oh, okay, the studio scene's about to change." Because big platform studios, you know what I'm saying? They're great, they're incredible, but and that's when I was like, all right, let me head back up to West Palm. Came to West Palm and yeah, opened up, and we've been booming ever since.
That's amazing. And one of the things that you guys have all mentioned, like you guys have kind of called, obviously you guys talk to me. We've all stayed in touch in some way or another. And you guys also, I know, probably talk to instructors or just other people at the campus. And that's something that I kind of pride myself in, is the fact that like you go after graduate, like I always want to know what you guys are doing, because obviously we're always proud of what you do. You'll always be our students, and I'm not doing saying this to be sappy or anything, but like I honestly take a lot of pride in knowing that we showed you something, and if you could make a living from this, because we know how hard it is to do this. The fact that you guys go hard, that's why I take Vic's calls at late at night, because I know he's trying to go. Not because I want to talk to him. Like, I mean,
Like at night.
yeah, why are you calling me, fam? Like, stop it. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, I love when you guys reach out to me, because I love, obviously, and we all do, all of the instructors, all the staff, anybody, because we all have done it. We've been in your shoes. You know what I'm saying? We know how difficult it is, and having somebody to reach out to is super important. So, um, I'm gonna do a little question break right now. I have two questions, and if anybody else have any questions, please go ahead and pop them into the Q&A. The first one is from Steven Moreira. When at what point in the program did you feel your talent with the knowledge given to start to take shape in the class? So like, where were you in the program where you felt like there was some stuff starting to take shape and you're like, I'm getting this?
I'd probably say day one. Like
Oh, okay.
and I'm not even like, not
No cap, as the kids
like,
say.
yeah,
No
yeah,
cap.
no
No
cap.
cap.
As you see, I got this wrong throat, no cap. But like, just like from the way, like, okay, all the teachers are phenomenal teachers at SAE, because y'all made me understand audio,
Yeah.
and like just like Frank talking about like signal flow and all right, this goes here, and when this and that, and I was like, oh, well, damn, when you say it like that, like this is not simple. But you know, where was I going with this? I'm sorry, lost my train of thought.
Well, for me,
But,
I was. Go ahead, Phil.
But no, you can take it over. You can take it over.
No. What I was going to say is that my infatuation with engineering, being in studios as an artist at the time, and seeing how everybody's moving with, like you said, with the tools and signal flow, I would know name brand things. And when Frank one day was in class, I forgot what class you were teaching, Frank, you and Rodriguez, you guys were mentioning about like compressors and certain mics and what chain you got and things like that. Like I had a UA 610 MK2 before I even went to school. Because I was trying to intern without piece of papers. You know what I mean? So like once I came to school, everything came together in terms of like, what an SSL really is, or what it's supposed to do, what mixing is about, what recording is about. The language really for me was kind of put everything in perspective, and knowing that and LA2A is real deal, and you can't go get yourself a little M audio and think you're gonna, the outcome is gonna be, So
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things, man, and that's for me is what put things in perspective and put things, just everything was in sync. It just made it, just made a whole lot of sense for me at that point. So for me, that's what it was.
Right. Brian,
But
Cush?
backtracking to, can I
Oh,
step back?
go
to
ahead,
Yeah,
Phil.
yeah.
Yeah,
You going back in. I was just trying to, I was
More
trying
back.
to,
So,
yeah.
So I was going back to, just from day one, because even just you mentioning like the very basics of audio, like for someone that, let's say if you've been sitting at home with FL Studio or Ableton and you're looking at all these audio effects and like what they're called, you don't know heads or tails of like, wait,
Right.
so like when you have someone that actually says, hey, this, like for example, like a reverb is, just a spread out delay, pretty much. What? And then when they explain what a delay is, it's just like, oh, okay. Now all of a sudden, I'm not just looking at like random words in a program. I'm looking at something and I'm knowing what it does. And that in itself, to me, like first week at SAE, I was already like, oh yeah, we in.
That's dope. That's fine.
Brian, Cush, what about for you guys? What point did it like feel like things are coming together for you?
For me, for me, it was a little bit non-traditional because I didn't come into it at all as an engineer. I just came in from an artist perspective. So I didn't know anything. I had worked with Logic a little bit prior, but, I still didn't know a thing. And what's crazy for me, maybe not like popular to say, I don't want to, dig too deep, but, till the end of the course, I was like, just trying to catch up and be like, yo, like, this is what this is what this is, learning, like staying sharp, staying on your feet. Because if you don't, my problem was there was a time where I didn't put in the time and that affected me. And so when you don't do that, the class progresses, it's pretty much game over. But if you take the time to learn what a compressor is, how to, and I think really what happened to me is towards the end, I just learned how to listen. I learned just how to listen and be like, yo, listen to this. Listen, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's telling you, listen, shut up, listen. Because it's true. We're always so caught up and, we know this, that. It's like, nah, just listen. And just by, even now to this day, when I listen to records, I'm like, damn, I'm just like sitting there just in awe of how someone used a reverb or how they used the delays or the background vocals. So for me, I think it started to click for me when I was like when I took it more serious and when I started to listen. That's really when the whole course changed and was like, all right, you just got to put in the work and that's it, and keep going.
For me, it was, I'll say the microphone class. I don't remember what module it was, but the dude that I paired up with was, he's actually a dope live engineer, Gomi. And I think I remember, I don't know how many mics SAE had at that time, but we would show up at like 9 a.m, check out all the mics. Yeah. As a rapper, I know what I used to like what I hear. But then when I started learning, oh, okay, this shit sounds bright. This shit sounds warm. Oh, this sounds crisp. This has more air. Oh, vocal presence. And then I knew what a LA2A was because I had been recording in the studios, but I didn't know why it worked. Like, why did I like it? You know what I'm saying? And so when that theory started like falling into place with the practicality side of it, it was like, oh, I got it. All right. So I know what I like on my chain. I know, that's when everything kind of started clicking. And then it was just, I don't know what else to say from there.
Heaven was heaven for you after that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want to just quickly touch back on something that Brian said. And, you're not the only person who's graduated who maybe during the time they were like, we have a lot of students who graduate, and then they feel like the next day they're like, oh my God, I don't know anything. And it's just like, sometimes you gotta because it's a lot of information. And sometimes that's why I asked that question earlier. What's something that comes in later down the road? And then you're like, oh, and it clicks. Like for me, as somebody who graduated from audio school, it was compression. I don't think I had figured out compression until like 2 years after graduating. And then one day I was just like, boom, oh, that's what it is. And then from then on, now you know what it is. So sometimes it's just having a little bit of patience and doing what you said, which is listening. I have a really good question from Amina Abramson. She wants to know, how many female engineers have you seen?
I've actually seen a couple.
I've seen plenty.
I haven't seen a lot. but I've seen a couple, and the ones I have seen are usually really badass because
Yeah.
you know, just the fact that they're female engineers, like they hold themselves to a higher standard, so they feel like they
Yeah,
have to be, you know, the sharpest knife in the drawer, basically. You know, so if you do see a female engineer, especially down here in South Florida, chances are like she knows what the hell she's doing.
Yeah.
can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Because I hired my partner and we hired a female engineer, and the level of pride that she has, like, it's insane. You know what I mean? Because we're a male dominated industry. You know what I mean? And so for her to find her way in, she told us basically her background story, and it was like, yo, I've worked at this studio, I've always had to fight for my clients. And I'm more like from the school of, yo, just earn your keep. I'll go shoulder to shoulder with you as far as we can go, just as long as you know you're running the same race. And yo, she just did Kanye's Sunday service for DMX's funeral. You know what I
Dope.
mean? So, and she's been doing them. So now she's
That's
trying to
awesome.
cross over into the studio world. So she's really dope.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. That's a conversation too. And I know Frank, you've popped into the group that we have on Clubhouse, and
Definitely talk about it, Brian. I
yeah,
think
for
that's
sure,
really
bro.
cool.
So I appreciate. I didn't want to get no plugs in, but I'm
Nah,
like,
man, go ahead,
I'm
do
gonna have
you.
to say it. You know what I'm
Plug
saying?
away,
So
brother. Plug away.
we have a group on Clubhouse. It's called Industry Swap Meet. It was created by Big Lou and Nico. And you know, I kind of just join along and just help out with social media. We've grown the social media, you know, in about 10 to 12 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 1,400 followers, and these are like real people that we speak to every night. Followers, you know what I'm saying? Not like just random. So it's wild. And that's actually a big conversation that we have on Thursdays. We usually go live 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Western. And we have a couple different, we go Monday through Thursday for right now. And every day is a different topic. Monday is Monday Night Raw. It's like a wrestling theme. We just go in there and change a little wrestling pictures. I got like, my favorite is Mankind. I always got the Mr. Socko popping. And so, you know, Tuesday's Engineering 101. So it goes deep into engineering. You know, Gary Noble's a part of it. Gary Noble's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? So he's been literally in the group every night since January when we started it. It's just like so wild. I even tell him every night, I'm like, Gary, it's so wild that you're here with me, bro. Thank you so much. You're the GOAT. I tell him every time, bro. It's crazy. And so so Wednesday we do just like an invest in yourself, just kind of personal thing. And then Thursdays we do ladies night. And ladies night is like, you know, female producers, engineers, songwriters, you know, everything in the business, and some not in the business, just coming in just for the love, support. And that's a huge topic, you know, huge. Like we need more female engineers, more female producers in bigger spots, more female, you know, A&Rs, more just all around,
songwriters, everything. Yep.
Everything. So, and the conversation's being had, and so we're just trying to do it, you know, every week and just kind of, you know, build awareness. Is I think, you know, what we talk about in the group is the more awareness there is, the more it's just going to change the game. You know, statistically, the numbers are there. You know, women are not, you know, at all dominant in this industry, but with things that we're doing and things, you know, people that are, you know, doing the same thing, I mean, it's just a matter of time before we see like ladies just everywhere in the industry just killing it. And there already are a bunch of ladies just killing it right now. So
yeah, I actually came up with a young lady named Tiffany Miranda, where she has girls make beats from the bottom. Like she was literally, you know, making beats with Ross in the studio, recording Ross at the studio, and I'm actually listening to these sessions. Yeah, and I've also went to high school with another engineer named Marcella Lago. She's pretty dope too. So I mean, there's definitely a few giants out there that are just very humble. They're out there. There's a lot of female engineers that's just very humble about it. Like you said, because it's a male dominant industry. But I feel like, you know, if they could just let their wings and fly, you know.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for the boys, dude. Honestly,
you know, I mean, you got Ariana Grande cutting her own vocals sometimes and copying her vocals, right? So it's like, you know, why not have a female that can relate to her as an artist as well and be able to manage that? You know what I mean? So because sometimes us men, we just like, you know us, we can, you know, but with a women, it's like, oh, wait a minute, why don't you try? Oh, and then, you know, it's just a connection thing too. Like, so yeah, they're definitely out there for sure. And I applaud them for all their hard work and patience and, you know, whatever they could bring to the table. I'm always, you know, thankful for them.
Amazing, guys. And Derica, she asked the schedule for ladies night, and it's Thursdays, and you go on Clubhouse, and the group is called Industry Swap Meet. So if you go on Clubhouse, look it up, join the group, and then you'll get the 8 million notifications from Clubhouse.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing about Clubhouse, bro. That's so wild. It's like, it's
I'm gonna turn my notification on and see what this is about.
No, don't do it,
Yeah.
yo. Somebody, the other day, somebody tweeted, they were like, yo, Clubhouse is a great app. And then in 1 minute, I got 7,000 notifications. And then that was it for me.
7,000? Oh my
Yo,
God.
they go hard with the notifications.
Disturb.com.
Because, people like add you to stuff and they add you, yo, be part of this group. And you're like, yeah, cool. And then next thing you know, every time they have a conversation, you're like, boop, boop. And you're like, yo, come on. I have to work. All right, we got one more question from Leslie Baptiste. What were your challenges following completion of the program, if any, as far as transitioning into the arena you envisioned for yourself? So any pitfalls you guys had after graduation, transitioning into your, the goals that you wanted to?
Brian, you seem like you got.
I would say.
Yeah. You go ahead, Philip. You go. You were going for it. Go ahead.
So I say, first thing is getting used to being up for long periods.
No sleep gang.
Like,
I got 2 hours last night.
Hashtag no sleep. Like 12-hour shifts. Like I do 12-hour sessions are the norm. So get used to being up like 16, 18 hours a day, and smiling.
Frank, what was the question one more time? I just gotta.
And
just any what is it? Oh, any challenges following the completion of the program?
Oh, you ready? Patience.
Super
sitting
patient.
and watching and wanting to be in that chair so much. Gotta just take your time. Gotta wait your turn. You gotta do runs. Like Phil said, long hours, literally like 15-hour nights. I used to call, hey, listen, I used to be like, man, I don't know. That's where people, tend to just get, disconnected. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And patience in the studio and coming up for me was just something I had to learn and really accept and be able to, incorporate that in my process.
That's also normal now, though. Like I like working the minimum 10 hours. I ain't pulling up for no 2-3 hours. I want 5-7 minimum.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But pitfall, Vic, patience. Yeah, you gotta put the hours in. I remember Frank said something to my graduating class. He was our last week. He was like, one day you guys are gonna hear compression, and when you hear it, it's gonna be like somebody hit the light switch. I'm like, what is he talking about? And like a year later, I'm sitting in the session, and I was like, and I texted him, Frank, I can hear compression. He was like, patience. So yeah,
especially at low decibels is really where I hear
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got a question from David Andrus. He wants to know, what's your least favorite part of the business and how do you deal or navigate it?
The business.
Oh man, I was about to jump right in. Go ahead, Bryan.
That's all I gotta say. The business.
Yeah, the business could be very challenging. But that's again, having the confidence though, people respect when you tell them, hey, this is what I'm worth to be here today for 12 hours and to deal with your personality, deal with your negative or positive energy, you know what I mean? Your pressure, whatever it is, like, again, we're hosting the session. So it's like, that's the business, man. I mean, that's something that comes along with patience and being able to communicate, correctly and set the boundaries and let them know, hey, this is what I'm worth. At this point in my career, this is what I'm worth. If it's something, there's going to be L's you're going to take and say, hey, look, this is something that I can't achieve. We can't, find the medium, then it is what it is. But definitely the business for me as well.
That's a tough one too, because like, you don't want it to like ruin, your dream or your vision or, what I'm saying? And sometimes there are situations where you're just like, wow, that really just happened. You know what I mean? Like, whether, a hustle situation, whatever it is, it's just life, you know what I mean? And then you got life going on too. So it's just hard. And it's really, when they say you got to build a tough skin, that's just like super facts. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? Like you see a lot of things that you don't agree with, but you still have to remain true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And just say, at the end of the day, I can make the situation better one day. You know what I'm saying? The industry or, the labels get talked down on a lot. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying labels are bad. I'm just saying there are situations that are bad for people and all the labels, you fight against them. But it's all perspective on how you look at it and how you are taking in all that information. But really just to keep believing too, believing yourself, because, you know, once you lose the belief, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like, you know, having that that power to say like, yo, I can change this one day. You know what I mean? I can implement things, helping the ladies night on ladies, you know, ladies night, what we do for the ladies, and doing little things like that, that you say, you know what, things are not right, let's make them right. And so that's why we're here, and we just do what we do to keep pushing, really.
Yeah.
From my perspective, it's me and my partner, we put all the money up. You know what I'm saying? So we have to hustle. Everything falls back on our shoulders, and at the end of the day, you know, it's on us. Every business decision, whether it's a successful one or a failure one, it lands back on us. And I'm more into building a brand than I am, you know, about which artist I'm working with. So I make sure all my engineers are running at a really high level. You know what I'm saying? Because the staff at SAE said something one time where like you want to leave the industry better than when you left it or when you came into it. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that all my engineers are running at a really high level, and the game is I'll give you the game for free, but you gotta keep pushing that line the way I expect to be pushed, because I know what quality I'm chasing. And you know, and that varies on everything. Like you think about expansion, or are we staying in this spot, or it can vary. But yeah, really the business goes from just the music side of like publishing and why you got to be quiet in a studio room to all right, where are we gonna put this money to where it makes sense? You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Super facts. Yep.
I would say for myself personally, it was getting used to dealing with entourage and people that have little to nothing to do with the actual creative process. And
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
so how you deal with that, I'm gonna put y'all on game right there. The entourage is it's you'd be surprised. Like sometimes you work with some really big artists and you're like, oh crap, I gotta work with like so and so today. They're gonna be so difficult. But then that person comes through and then they ask for little to nothing. But their homeboy, on the other hand, wants to run to Finger Lick in the liquor store. He needs you to go get him a charger cable. Y'all can put the game on the TV. You know, like all kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So how you deal with that is you take a deep breath and you remind yourself that as annoying as this is temporary.
Yeah.
And that this is momentary, this will pass. And that, you know, what you're doing and your dream and everything is much bigger than this moment of complete idiocy, however bad it is, because there will be some bad ones.
Patience,
Like
man.
I just had a bad one yesterday. And, like,
Well,
you know, yeah. Sorry.
no. Finish your thought, Phil, please, because it's leading me into the next question.
And sometimes it's like, you know, going back to relationships and everything, like you have to know how to deal with people, because you're not gonna like everybody that you work with, but you still have to make them feel like you like them, but not in a fake way, but like you still have to be accommodating, and you have to be professional about it and polite at the end of the day, you know? And yeah, you just, if you haven't already, I highly recommend reading the book 48 Laws of Power. If you haven't read that already, you know, and that'll definitely help you in dealing with studio or any situation where you deal with a lot of people with big egos, because it'll just make navigating so much smoother. And yeah,
That is a super gem. I hate that book. I think it's the worst book ever. But I tell people, I'm like, you need to read this because everybody in the music industry has read this book. And some people take it like to heart, and when you can identify certain characteristics from the book in people when they do it, and then you go, oh, okay, I know what you're doing. You read 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
That actually led me into a question that somebody asked from John Paul Sutton. He asked, has your experience in the industry created fluctuations in your mental health state?
Oh yes. Yes. Because this industry is cutthroat. You'll have days where you wake up like, yes, I can't wait to create. And then you have other days where you're just like, I suck. Like, why do I even do this?
Yeah.
Like, I was just in a session with so-and-so and his 808s, like I felt that in my chest. I never heard a kick drum like that. Or, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna hear some beats or some music that's just gonna make you or you're just gonna work that one session where like the people were just horrible and it just leaves you drained. But you know, at the end of the day, like it just comes down to remembering what you love about this, why you do this, and remember that at some point in time, like you're gonna have to take care of yourself and or other people that you care about with this. So it's not always gonna be about what you like, but what you got to do, and you got a job to do.
Facts.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's facts. I mean, I'll piggyback off you, flipping. It's the same. Just keeping. You gotta find your piece too. You know what I'm saying? You have to, again, Vic was saying, know your worth, and all these scenarios. Just you have to understand too. It's a business, and not let it affect you. Totally. Make you go crazy for whatever situations that are happening, and if it's a bad one or a good one, just take it day by day. It's really what it comes down to. If you get ahead of yourself thinking about the future and on situations that haven't even happened yet, or mistakes, you beat yourself up for weeks about this one thing that happened on this one session, something stupid you said, or what. It just like, you take it, I took the L, let's move, keep it moving. Like, we don't have no time to sit around and just like sit in that type of energy, you know what I mean? So just getting over losses and just understanding it's part of the process, because that, I mean, I've seen it a lot with a lot of people, man. People go through it, and so I got to reach out to people sometimes and say, look, it is what it is. We took the L, let's run, let's keep it going. Like, there's another day to fight.
And how you do it is another thing that helps is you redefine what an L is. So instead of an L being a loss, it becomes a lesson.
Facts.
And then when you just you don't take losses, you take lessons. And when you take lessons, you just get smarter, you get better. And that's it. You can only go up from there.
Yeah, the harder you fall, the harder you go. So that's
exactly.
That's facts. What Bryan and Phil are saying is super important. You just got to keep a positive mentality at all times. Don't allow the stress of what the stigma of the music industry is bringing upon your process, because some people are so passionate that they get caught in it, and just ego aside, this was going to get you past that. There's been times I've been very discouraged, and I won't say who I called, but you know what I'm saying? Where I'm just like, he's just like, Vic, you gotta understand, you're on Tesla, but really you're in a Corolla. You got a Tesla mentality, and you're riding in a Corolla. You gotta, you just gotta just don't give up. That's what that's just my advice. Don't ever give up. Don't let anything that's challenging you in your process defeat you, because how you gonna become great if you're accepting all these losses and letting it cloud your mental health. Mental health to me is a stress factor. It's a stress thing, so it's like, don't stress nothing, man. Just, you got to be patient. You know what I mean? You got to find somebody to talk to about it, that's in the same industry, so that way they can, you can actually, move forward and be able to just, that's why I said I'm on airplane mode. I'm not landing anytime soon because of the advice that was given to me, and just learn how to control your emotions, because that can discourage you from what you really want to do, especially in this music industry, or anything regarding production, whether you want to be a songwriter, you want to be an engineer, like nothing is never going to get handed to you. This is why every interview you listen to, every great or anybody who's, working his way up the ladder will tell you that, hey, it's a step-by-step booklet, you know what I mean? So one thing at a time, and, and just keep positive. Just know that the end results is gonna fall into your favor, but you got to be able to create that path for yourself, and so that way you have more control of what happens to you, along the lines of that.
Right, one foot in front of the other.
100%.
And one thing that okay, so another thing to consider, that sometimes you don't get the things that you want when you want them, because you yourself are not ready for them. So for example, if you're an intern right now, or you're a prospective student, and you're like, oh, I just want to jump straight into doing this, or I want this opportunity or that, you yourself, like, even if someone walked up and gave you the opportunity with like on a silver platter, if you yourself are not ready, like, you're just gonna squander. Like, I think to myself, like, if I first got $1 million when I first wanted it, where would I be right now?
Some people don't even know how to act with $1 million.
Some people don't know how to act with $100.
Facts.
Yeah, that's facts.
Definitely embrace the opportunity you're in, for sure.
So, take time to appreciate where you're at and just know that, where you're at is a good place to be as long as you continue to proceed forward. Like slow motion better than no motion. You know what I mean?
Find a way to decompress. My
Hell
fat
yeah.
ass was at the beach for 4 hours yesterday, floating. You know what I'm saying?
You were sunbathing?
Yeah, bro, that's it. I was a beach well yesterday.
Hey man, hey, just go buy a bike, man. I mean, shoot, Frank knows I ended up getting a bike, man, doing trails.
Yeah, he's been telling me. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah,
I try to get everybody on the trails.
Engineer mental break. We just go and just get creative with your time. Don't spend too much overthinking it because
yeah, no, you gotta let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, you gotta keep it moving. You're obviously in the position you're at for a reason. So it's a matter of just being able to maintain that. You know what I mean? If you can't maintain it, then you're gonna break, then you're gonna go back to a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? Remember, I was a barber 20 years.
Allow yourself to feel the emotion, but don't hold on to it. Let it pass through. That's it.
100%.
And just to kind of wrap all that up, the mental health thing, like it's okay to get upset and it's okay to, it's just not good to live in that situation. And everything these guys are saying is true. You got to find a way to kind of move past it. And even though it's difficult sometimes, it happens. Just know that it happens to everybody. Everybody has self-doubt. Everybody has those moments where they feel like, yo, this is not for me, or they feel like quitting.
Yeah.
I've been engineer over 20 years now, and there's days where I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. But then, then it's like 11:30. I eat a sandwich. I'll be like,
yeah.
You're right. You get back into it. You
find
gotta
something to
shake it
motivate
off.
you. Yeah. It could be a new plug, and you're like, wait a minute, I got a sale today. Wait a minute. You're like, what?
And that. Thank you, Vic, so much. And that leads me into the next thing, and it's networking, and how important. How important is that? As far as even just motivational purposes, like working with other people, how do you guys network? What are some ideas you have for other people if they want to network?
Be genuine.
Yes, genuine. That's the number one thing. Like, don't network with someone just for the sake of networking with someone just because someone said, "Oh, that's so and so. They lit." You should know who they are. Like, no, if they don't align with what you're trying to do and this and that, it's a waste of energy and a waste of everybody's time. And when you reach out to people, like, be genuine. Don't hit them up like looking to get something from them. Actually reach out to either get to know them or to actually offer something to them. Like,
not your beats
to them. Not your beats. Like, not your beats. Nobody wants your beats.
Right. Yeah, that's always been there. I remember every studio owner be like, hey, listen, I know you'd like to make beats and stuff, but you're an engineer today.
Yeah. Build relationships too. The thing about that's tough, like you say, be genuine. A lot of, even just where I am now today wouldn't have happened if it wasn't just genuine, I'm gonna fight for you, you fight for me, let's run it. You know what I mean? Let's build a relationship. Let's, let it not be about music sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Just just regular life. Let's go get lunch, you know what I mean? Whatever, let's go chill or go kick it or, go to the bar or whatever Friday night. If you don't drink, whatever, just go chill, whatever. Just be available, to people. Don't just use it for just like, oh, so-and-so and this can get me here and there. It's like, if you're doing that, you're gonna lose 100%. Because people smell that. That's what people need to understand, is that they smell that. When they smell that you're fake, it's not a good day. It's not a good day.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Remember, there's thousands of people that are just probably in that one person's ear to try to get the opportunity to try to move on.
Yeah.
My advice with that is like Bryan said, and feel like relationship, be genuine, just be yourself. Like, people like to fake it to make it, and that's cool, you know what I mean? But I feel like that doesn't last long enough, at times. You gotta know that whoever you want to network with has to be you have to be beneficial to them, and vice versa. Like, they have to be beneficial for you, for your career, or whatever you're trying to achieve at the time. Like Bryan said, they're gonna smell you from a mile away because there's thousands of those, scenarios. So it's like, it just has to be beneficial, and it's just find a happy medium with it, because you don't want to fall into traps, right? And then feel like, damn, I invested all this time. I thought he was cool. I thought we had this going on, and then all of a sudden it's just like a little curveball, and you're like, wait a minute, and it goes back to being discouraging again, and not being, you become that that scent.
Yeah,
Providing value,
Yeah.
literally.
Always
Provide
value. Be an asset. That's very important. Be an
Mhm.
asset to whoever you're gonna network with, because they may think about you, even though they might not be giving you the attention you may want to be looking for at the time. You might get that text and that call and be like, hey bro, by the way, and that's when it's like, all right, bet. So that's good time investment, but it has to be beneficial to you as well. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be beneficial to them, because at the end of the day, you don't want nobody saying, hey, what have you done for me? Look what I've done for you. It's more like, nah, this is what we got going on. This is what I can do. This is how you can benefit from it. And then you grow and you plant the seed and grow from there.
And be direct too. Don't be scared to be really direct. I had a film producer call me 2 days ago, and his vision was not in line with what me or my team want to do. And I was like, hey, look, I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm not interested. And he kept going and going. And I was like, bro, no means no, bro.
bro.
Me too vibes. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, he was being
man.
consistent. Consistency is good, but again, it has to be beneficial though, bro. Because they are going to know you.
Yep.
They know that you want something from them, and nothing is. When people say nothing is free, it's literally not free. You know what I mean? Like, people's time is investment is like currency. So if Phil wants to give me some knowledge on parallel compression and I don't know anything about it, and I want to be like, hey, he's gonna be like, calm down, man. That would, I didn't, that wasn't taught to me that way. So it's like, I'd rather, pass it on the correct way. And if you're going to benefit from it, great. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel you on that.
And another thing to remember about networking is that you shouldn't just look up. Like, just look at the people that's, so-and-so's lit. You should also look at the people below you, quote unquote, below you, because no one's really below anybody. But like,
right.
As far as like, today's intern is tomorrow's engineer or A&R or producer or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So be good to people regardless, across the board. 100%. And I guarantee you, like, people will, if people really resonate with you, they will remember you, they'll come back and they will ask for you.
Mm-hmm.
And people that ask for you are people that are going to want to work with you and going to want to pay you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go and be shiesty and try to finesse your way into some money. Like, the money will come from you being a good person and treating people like how people deserve to be treated.
360, 100%.
Bars. Phil with the bars today. Phil.
Yo, Phil the philosopher.
You should write a book, man. I'm just
philosopher Phil.
I got one last question, guys, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And it has to do with, your advice to anybody who's interested in doing this. Maybe somebody who's already at SAE and is having somebody put 48 Laws of Phillips Philosophies.
I like that, babe.
And you spell 40 PHORTY 40 like that, so it rhymes.
Hey, I'm with it.
No, so somebody who's maybe in the program now, who's maybe having a hard time, somebody who's maybe interested in doing this is maybe a hard time. What is your two, 3 words just for them as encouragement? Something you would say, like, hey, what would you guys say? Start.
Yeah.
Don't worry about who. Yeah. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. It's your race is to be ran. Don't pay attention to anybody else. I mean, keep in mind other people and find inspiration from others, but just fucking start. Put your head down and start working. Figure out. There's this chart. I always refer to it as the Donda chart. I seen Kanye do it one time. Write down a list of your goals you want to hit in the next 5 years and make it a reality. Just start. That's it. For me, at least.
Yeah, then Frank, I appreciate you, Frank, because I mean, there was a time, man. I'll tell you, in that course, bro, there was a time when, I wasn't pulling up. You know what I mean? Had the girl, I was going to her crib or whatever, and just like, I wasn't taking it seriously. You know what I mean? But I think again, there's a click that happens where it's like, if you really want it, because you go to class and you don't show up, and when you do show up after a day or two. It wasn't phasing Frank. He's like, oh, you're here? All right, cool. Let's get to work. Like, it doesn't, I'm not, you weren't here these last 2 days. Like, no one is there to baby you, ever. So understand, if you took out, like loans or whatever, like how I went, that's how I did on my route. I got to pay that thing back, you know what I mean? So I have to make this work for me, you know what I'm saying, to build, financially where I want to be, to take care of my business, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, taking it seriously and understanding that this is a grind. Nothing is given to you and for me, you know, I used to have a day job, you know, last year I just quit, you know, so like at the beginning of the year pretty much. And it took me years to get to that point, to just be able to, you know, quit the job and then boom, just start working on my thing. It took a long time to build there. So just understanding that once that check is not given to you, you got to go get it. And if you don't get it, then, you know.
Yeah, you don't work, you don't eat. So just
Facts.
focus on your goal and don't allow anybody to interrupt that, because,
Facts.
you know,
Awesome.
we all have dreams, and the only way to achieve those dreams is, you know, by remaining focused and not allowing anybody to come into your bubble. You know, invest your time wisely. That's so important to me. Time is religion to me. So, you know, time is everything. Just make sure that whatever you're investing your time in, just make sure that, you know, that's what you want to do, you know, and that's, you can go hard, go 120% and learn from, you know, people that are probably ahead of you or front of the line, and see what mistakes they're making, so that way you're not making those mistakes, and you can apply those along the way, and I guarantee you're gonna win.
Amazing. Well, I lied. There's actually 3 more questions. So
Let's do it. I got time. I ain't worried about it. I ain't got no rush.
bear with
I'm
me.
happy. Let's
I
go.
got
It's all good.
I got 3 questions. So one of them is relating back to making connections. So like he said, how did you link up with people in the industry after SAE? Like what opened up your connects?
Yo, as real quick, I mean, for me, it was when I was interning, I wasn't in school yet. So a friend of mine, James, which we're really good friends right now, I mean, till today, he was already in school. So that was, to me, was just like, you know, my pickup, and you know, I just got lost in the train of thought right now. But James Roy, James was that person for me, point of contact, you know, that kind of, you know, opened
You
those
guys,
doors for me.
who opened up, like what opened up some opportunities and connections for you guys? Like what opened up connections and stuff for you guys?
I mean, for me, Frank, I would definitely say again, you know, people that were in SE with you, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know in the classes too. Actually, you do know. You do know the 1 or 2 dudes that are just balling in Pro Tools. You taking a test and you're like, oh, how do you know all this stuff? And they're just sitting there like, what? All right. And they just like, you know, mixing, compression, EQ, like they know everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, for me, I was just blessed again. You know, Nico just, you know, blessed me with the opportunity, being that we were just friends from back in the day. And then he went on to work for Dave Pensado. I mean, that shit is just, sorry if I've cursed, sorry. But you know, it's just, it's real.
Clean, I ain't gonna lie. I've been trying to be
It's
all
real.
professional.
I'm sorry. It's real.
I
It's
want to be
real,
myself
man.
so bad.
It's real, bro. It's just real. So, you know what I mean? It's just, it's love. It's love. It's so real because, like, you know, had he not had that, you know, belief in me, and I was just someone that I went to school with, you know, this wouldn't happen. Again, building relationships, just being true with people, just being dope with people. Like, I mean, just again, I think building relationships, providing value is just like above anything, really, man. For me, at least personally, it's just you gotta be just good to people and provide value. You know, if it's something not in return, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? This could pay off a year, 2 years from now. Yeah. Exactly.
There's no receipt in the game. You gotta
None.
put it in. That's it.
Great.
There was questions you said?
Yeah, there's 2 more. So Robert Nolan, he said, I want to produce, make beats in parentheses, engineer, write songs, and be an artist. Am I doing too much?
So I will say this: if you're trying to do it all at once, yes.
Yep.
If you want to become a good artist, truly become a good artist, then one, I would say focus on maybe 2 things, but not 3 things or 4 things, because I myself have had that same problem where I'm like, oh man, like I know I wanted to make beats and I'm engineering, but I kind of want to write songs now. But then I also want to play the bass. But then like,
yeah.
You ain't got time
and what
for
that
all
is too, Phil, and to piggyback off you is like, you know, we say it in the Clubhouse group, you know, when we bring up the engineering stuff and, you know, what is too much? And it's like, all right, cool. So if it's 100%, you're doing 20% producing, 20% engineering, 20% songwriting, 20%. It's like you have to understand that the people that are doing those things 100% are going to just, you know, they're putting in the 80 hours a week while you're putting in the 20 hours a week doing that one thing. So if you're a songwriter, someone's songwriting 100 hours a week. If you're producing, someone's, you know, producing 100 hours a week. So it's really just determining what it is you want to do. And you could, you know, still dabble in it and just learn and still, you know, sharpen your tool. But, you know, not many people can do that everything I'm gonna do it all. Like
Mhm.
it's just rare. You know what I mean? Not that it's saying it can't be
Yeah.
done. It's
Yeah.
just rare.
No, 100%.
And you have
To
to be
piggyback off,
respectful.
I'm sorry, did I
You
interrupt
also have,
anybody?
sorry, no, after you, brother, after you.
No, go ahead, Phil, we're good.
You also have to be realistic about the level of mastery that you want to achieve with like the multiple skill sets that you're trying to have. Like, for example, if I want to do everything that I mentioned earlier and play the bass guitar, it's like, am I trying to play enough bass to be able to play on my beats, or am I trying to become the next Victor Wooten? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I trying, how crazy with it are you trying to get? And then from there, that's how you have to determine like what's an actual priority. So if you want to do all that, you can. But what I would say is maybe take 3 months and just do 1 or 2 things. Just become a specialist of that for a little while and just really cram as much knowledge as you can into that one area.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should focus on what you're really great at. If let's say he's a beat maker or a producer and he's dope at that, just master that and then incorporate the songwriting, incorporate a little bit of engineering. Because there's been a lot of scenarios where I'd be called to do a session and the producer knows how to engineer as well. And he's also a producer and he's actually producing, like he's actually line for line and he's helping out to write. So there's levels to it, like Phil's saying. So just try don't clutter yourself, because when you're doing too much, it sounds good, but to apply all that at one time and be, in a professional, in this world, like in this music industry, it's sort of, it kind of can be a little too much. I'm saying just do it, but just like you said, focus on one thing, but incorporate the other things so that way there's a big blend of everything. So you're not like telling people, hey, I do this, boom, you're wearing like 50 hats. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's just like I'm gonna look at you like, what? Like, remember, there's people designed to do certain things in the industry. That's why there's called hats. There's a mastering engineer, there's a mixing engineer, there's an audio engineer, there's a producer, there's writers, so it's cool to incorporate it, but you can't wear 5 hats. Like, so just make that blend and make it work. But like Phil said, focus on that one that you're really great at, because everything else is like a big pot. So you're gonna be able to just, you're gonna be different. You're gonna evolve into something different. You know what I mean? A different type of producer that can actually do it all. And if you know the business, then there's a bag, cha-ching, in different avenues, because you're incorporating those things now. You know what I mean? So there's a songwriter bag, there's an engineering budget, there's a lot of things that fall into place. But you can't present yourself looking crazy. I'd rather you just be like, yo, I'm a producer, and then have these assets ready and be able to be like, well, I'm a songwriter too. Matter of fact, oh, I didn't know you can sing. Yeah, I do references, I do this, I do that. And it's like an attraction, because it's like, wow, this guy's wait a minute. And then that's when the opportunities will start knocking ASAP. Trust me.
Amazing. So I have a really good question from Luis Contreras, where he's asking, that he noticed a lot of people finish school, take the music route. Do you guys know, do you know how much different it may be to land in that? They want to do, he wants to do interactive audio. So he says he knows a lot of people do music. Do you know anybody who's landed in that field and what they did to get there?
I personally don't. However, I feel like that would be cool for you to get into, just for the simple fact that I don't know anyone that does that. So that's already a niche, however you say that.
Winning.
Niche.
So thank you. Niche, that's your lane, So if you get in that, like, it's you and however few other people are doing that. So it's not this huge competition. Whereas when you walk in the studio, like, as soon as you walk in the door, your competition might be staring at you from the couch.
Hell yeah.
What do you mean you're interning with the competition?
Yeah, exactly.
Race. It's more like, hey, I'm about to kick this guy's shin a little bit,
It's like, it's also like for one thing that we had a conversation on Clubhouse about it. It's like, someone's like, hey, I wanted to do like, work on movies and how do I get a hold of someone, put my music in a movie or something. It's like, yo, like, look up the music director, look up the people who, run these situations for these, sorts of, big things, and, send an email, you know what I mean? Do a little bit of research on who does what in that field, who's doing this and that and the third, and then just reach out.
To piggyback off you, Bryan, that's why there's credits. That's why there's things as credits. So when I was a kid, even just growing up, I would see like, damn, what the hell is a visual, whatever.
Yep.
Look into it, research it, because that lane might not be as saturated as the lane that we on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you know, so always, that's why credits are there. Try to read them. I know that in 2021, they kind of don't exist, but, you know, at the end of the movie, there's, like Bryan said, there's somebody there, there's an audio engineer in there, there's people mixing movies. Like, to me, I'm thinking like, man, when I'm old and dusty, I'm about to think about doing that. You know what I mean?
Trying to be on the credits and trying to be on the credits.
Trying to be on the credits, be old and dusty, still mixing old, you know what I mean? Making sound effects and shit. Like, you know, I'm gonna be on that. So I applaud you if you, you know, if you can find that land, that niche. Is that what it is? That's the right
Niche.
you know?
We're all learning things today.
Yeah. If you can find that shit, make it happen. Because hey, that's where it's at. That's how you, that's, you know, stay ahead of the game. That sounds like you're just trying to be ahead of the game, and not whoever's, you know, whoever, you know, asked for that question.
That was Lewis. And Lewis, just so you know,
Big deal.
EA Sports is based out of Orlando, and they have a summer internship every year for the audio department. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead and
CBS is also here in Fort Lauderdale. I have a plug for that as well. You know,
So,
if you
Like,
want to do it like
the
that.
beautiful thing
it's
about
definitely
this,
possible.
the beautiful thing about audio is that it's not just music, it's literally audio. Audio. Like, you know, so as long as you hear stuff, like there's some way to create a job from it, some way, somehow, you know.
Yeah, I
And,
think
you know, with-
Bryan mentioned something earlier about that too. Like, you could actually evolve into something else, even though you kind of entered in the world of like he said, I was just an artist. I just wanted to figure it out. I want to see how this works. You know, he was just curious about, you know, the process, and now it just evolved into like a social media monster. And look where he's at. Like at the studio he's at. Like, you know,
it's
just so many.
It's wild. You're right. That's one thing too that I think needs to just be touched on a little bit. And you know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that, you know, we can't be married to our ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like you're so married to like, I want to be an artist. I want to be rapping. I want to be in front of that camera. I want to, you know, the music videos with the girls and the,
you ain't got to be all in the video dancing all the time.
Bro, you know what I mean? Like in the background, just, you know,
come over to death row. No, just
you know what I mean? Just doing your, you know, so it's like, you know, and that may be the goal still, you know, at the end of the day, it might, you know, is that my goal? Maybe it still is one day, you know what I mean? But, you know, I understand that you got to maneuver, you got to understand how to maneuver, and, you know, bills got to be paid. You have to do what you have to do to survive. You know what I'm saying?
Be adaptable.
Adaptable. If it was saying be realistic. And it's not, I feel like sometimes people say this and then they're like, oh, but you just killing the dream. And, you know, you're not
being realistic in reality,
man. I'm telling you, understand this, man. Like, if you get lost in that, you're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So
it's better to hear from us than to hear.
If you get taken, you know, don't leave any doors, you know, closed. Yes. Don't leave any doors closed. You know what I mean? Like, if there's an opportunity here that's like still aligned with music, but it's not what you're, you know, music. Oh, you know, let me go over here and see. And the next thing you know, you go over here and then you meet the guy who's, you know, an engineer for such and such. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh shit, you work with this artist? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's because you took that opportunity that had nothing to really do with music, you know, so to speak, but it does, and it worked out. You know what I'm saying? So just don't leave any doors closed.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of industry giants that you're gonna meet along the way too. That you're like, I wrote this song, or I did this at once upon a time, and now look where I'm at now. Now I'm an A&R. Now I'm a VP at Warner or Sony ATV or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, always keep a open mind to opportunities.
Opportunities, yeah.
100%. I'm down for one more question.
Last one.
Let's do it.
How do you deal with challenges within the industry, like projects when there's like a crazy deadline to meet?
Man, call Frank at 12 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, bro. And I'm not blessed. I'm not in Miami, so I don't have the Cuban coffee right now. If I was in Miami, bro, it'd be Cuban coffee all day.
Nah, man, you gotta find dissect the situation and find a way to defeat that probability. You know what I mean?
Challenge it head on.
Don't be afraid to ask for help either.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out. Some people might suck their teeth, but they still pick up at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be the first person to be like, yo, who the hell's calling me right now? Why so called me? Hey, it was good, bro.
Yo, I hit Philip the other day because Phil and I got a
Right.
history. So I hit Philip the other day. I'm like, yo, he was like, what's going on? He always answered, hey, what's happening? I need to see 800. Do you can rent one of those? You know where I can find one? So just, you know, when things get challenging, just like I said, try to incorporate people that, you know, are an asset to you And like I said, just kind of just find the happy medium. But that way you can call these people and say, hey, look, for advice. You know, you might not have the best relationship with this A&R that works at Atlantic, but at the end of the day, he will give you that one opportunity to be like, what do you need? You know what I'm saying? And they might answer your question or they might not, but you got to keep it moving. Don't ever let that discourage you. You know, don't let any challenge, you know, again, take you away from your focus. Just find how to be a problem solver. This is why you go to school. This is why you go to SAE. Yep. You know what I mean? Troubleshooting is everything, and every challenge is going to be a troubleshoot. You know what I mean? You just got to figure out, you know what I'm saying? You got to figure out how to finesse that, you know, and that's why it's a challenge.
Absolutely. All right. We're done. Wait, but somebody left one last question, and we could end it on this right here. No more questions. Sure. What is everybody's goals for the next 2 years?
Ooh.
That's why I did it. Oh, doing Dave Pensado? I like it.
Yeah, I want to be honestly, man, I just want to be, you know, my goal is to be more, just represent the audio engineering, just the engineering culture in general. And, you know, maybe hopefully, you know, be a guest on pace.
Yo, but the 6 degrees of separation is like 2 degrees right now. Bryan to Nico to Dave. You mad close. You almost there.
I got the resume. It ain't like I can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not about to be on the live platform saying I'm a plug or anything.
Remember my good friend is James Royal. He's been on that show how many times? You know what I'm saying? It's only I'm telling you, he's people like that is who I have, you know, people like Frank, you know what I'm saying? Phil, you know, these people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm beneficial to them somehow, and they're beneficial to me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that my goal is to be better than who I am today, in a better, bigger position if possible, you know, hopefully, you know, and be in a position where I can actually be like on a Pensado talking about, you know, what we're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? How I applied everything that I've learned, everything that I do. You know, I got mixing credits, recording credits. I got, you know what I mean? Like, it goes on and on. So it's not like I'm not putting in the work. So, you know, those are my goals, is to be an asset to the industry when it comes to like engineering and producing and things like that.
Yeah, that troubleshoot thing you were saying too, Vic, that's real talk. And it's just, at the end of the day, you know, there's going to be challenges no matter what. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to react to these situations. So it's just, you know, reacting to them as best as you can, trying to, you know, provide value as best as you can, and just continue moving forward. You know, like you said, it's credits, and you get the first one, great. It's a big success. You know what I'm saying? It's lit. It's biggest moment in your career. You know what I mean? But it's like in sales. When I used to work, you know what I mean? It's like in sales. I'm telling people,
like I want more. Like, yo, feed my plane. I'm in the top. Let's move. Let's go. Feed me. That's
just
what
like it is in sales. Just like it is in sales. And I tell people this too, back in my sales days. It's, you know, people don't understand. It's like, yo, you know, I'll go into work. I have a crazy day in sales. Boom, did it. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Next day I come in. You know, I'm like telling the manager, like, yo, you saw my sales yesterday? It was fire, right? It's like, yeah, it was fire. Best sales out of everyone in the whole building. Word. Like, so what's up for today? And it's just like, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, yeah, that's yesterday. We're here today. So what's up? Let's keep it moving, you know.
My challenge is downtime. You know, downtime when I'm mixing the whole. Like, I just recently mixed a album for Empire, and it's like, now it's like downtime. I'm like, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? What's the next for me? I need you to feed me now. You know what I mean? Before I get old and dusty and start mixing, you know, movies or something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So to me, that's what it is. I want to stay busy. I love what I do. I love what I do, man. Like, I don't know how to explain that. You know, love is for the game. For me, I just, you know, I'm happy where I'm at right now, but I know that, you know, I want to evolve into something great, you know what I'm saying? And be an asset to obviously our community, you know, Miami scene, you know what I'm saying? And be able to bring Cush along with me, bring Phil with me, bring others with me, you know what I'm saying? And you know, get that cosign going. So I just want to be an asset. You know, I want to be humble at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, not that I don't have 100 million streams or anything like that. I'm just kidding. But what I'm saying is that, like, that to me, that's not impressive. I rather, you know, I want to take bigger leaps.
Build people up.
Yeah. I want to be able to. I'm like that, bro. So I'm very giving. So, you know, I just, you know, whatever. It is what it is. I just want to be great.
For me, it's the same, along the same lines, but also expansion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to open up another studio right there where you are, Bryan, in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So that's stuff me and my boy been talking about. But you know, this keep pushing the line and put as many people on as I can. You know what I'm saying? As many engineers on as I can. That's really it.
Yeah, and also my advice too for like the up and coming is like, besides being patient, don't try to get too ahead of yourself, because you don't want to miss anything. So that way, when you do get to where you're at, you miss the step. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather you go through it, right, to understand it and know that how to moving forward. You know what I'm saying? That's super important, and that's what helped me. Besides calling Frank at 1 o'clock in the morning.
It keeps getting later.
It keeps
Still.
getting, I was just about to say that.
Sometimes I wouldn't even sleep. I'll call James on a FaceTime because he don't sleep. So James, man, James is another person who's helped me out as well. So, like, just be patient, man. You're gonna get there for sure. And we want to do the social media plug. We can do that too.
I got Phil. Phil's gonna answer, and then we'll do plugs.
Oh, yeah,
Put your social media, put your socials in the chat.
I bet.
Oh, so for myself, like I've been at Socorro House pretty much my whole career since I left SAE. So I would like to start like branching out more, working with like, I want to work with more local artists and like really help to build like more of a local scene, because our own local scene down here in Miami, as you know, we have a lot of very talented people, but we also have a lot of like gatekeeping and a lot of politics that keeps a lot of the good stuff from coming to the surface. So I would like to help, just bring some good shit to the air. You know what I'm saying? Like,
nah, let me tell you something about Phil, man. Phil's my guy, man. Phil, trust me. Me and Phil spend a lot of time together, bro. And like he's assisted with me a lot of times, and let me tell you something. Like I'm happy to hear that you're here right now today with us, man. Building, and
appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? You already know anything that comes here that I can't get, you got it. What's mine is yours.
Hey, likewise, brother. And also, if anybody here, like, I myself, like, I'm an open book. Vic is an open book. Anyone that you meet from SAE that's come from this like beautiful lineage of like engineers and whatnot, like everybody's an open book. So don't be afraid to like ask for help or ask for advice. Like, it doesn't have to be just music. Like, sometimes like you're having a shitty day at the studio and you need to know how to like cope with people like harassing you, telling you to run to the corner store and patch in an aux and do this and that. And, each one teach one. And like, just, when you get on, put someone else on.
Facts. Thank you,
And
Phil. Phil with more. Phil's the gem dropper today.
Phil needs a school, man.
He does. He needs his own school. Also, if you need to know what to order, from Pinecrest Bakery, Phil's your guy.
Pinecrest Bakery. Whoa.
All right, guys. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. This was amazing, super informative. Thank you to all of you who attended. I want to let you guys know, for those of you who are here, who are prospective students, we do have an open house next week, May 15th. That's right. If maybe Guillermo could drop the link to register, or Jerry, if one of you guys could drop the link in the chat, we do have an open house next week where you guys can talk to some of the staff and you kind of see what the program is all about. So again, thank you guys so much for doing this. I know we went over a little bit. I really appreciate you guys taking the time today, and I know everybody who's listening really appreciate this.
I'm a la orden. Whenever you guys need me, just let me know.
We appreciate it.
Hopefully we get James back. James on here with us.
I would love to get James on here.
Let me know.
He's super busy. But you know what? Actually, well, I'll talk to you guys off air. We're working on a secret project, so I'll talk to you guys off air.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Good luck.
All right, guys.
Likewise, y'all have a good one.
Peace.